Content warning. Some themes and subjects in this video might be distressing to some viewers. Remember that these videos are meant to be part of a fun, spooky series. If you are easily scared, grossed out, or do not like horror stories, please watch at your discretion. Hey everyone, it's Gloria Shuri Henry, and welcome to Glow in the Dark Episode 2, a short series in which I read spooky stories to you in my narrator voice. Today I will be reading a story for you called The Eyes in the Forest by Allison Miehl. Check her out, Allison_typing on Twitter. And the art for this episode, along with the intro, is done by Landon, aka Kawawa Boy, aka States of Awkward. So grab your snacks, get cozy, and enjoy the spookies coming your way. Ooh. Forgive me if this doesn't make sense. If there are missing details or things don't add up, it's because I can hardly comprehend it myself. I'm trying to put it all in order, find the string that connects one event to the next, but I seem to have tangled myself up in it as well, and I hardly know where, or when, or why I am. I'll start with what I can remember. Some things you should know about me. First, I'm a natural-born runner. I mean, I won't act like I have a wall full of cross-country trophies and medals, but I've been running ever since I evolved from crawling to walking upright. I feel wrong if I'm not moving. Second, I am obsessed with the concepts of randomness and chance. I've always been fascinated by it. What is the chance of certain things happening? Can we calculate the probability of a seemingly random event even before it happens? Is anything truly random? I hope to find out, or at least get us somewhere closer to the answer. I need to ask, does this sound familiar to anyone? Just curious. Which brings me to the third and last thing. I just moved across the country to attend an extremely small private college in Washington State. I enrolled in its statistics program. I hoped to contribute to the field by bridging the difference between math's definition of randomness and events in the real world. The campus was gorgeous. Mountains surrounded us on three sides, poking through clouds like towers to the sky. Behind my dorm lay a verdant forest as dense with mystery as it was with foliage. My roommate, Eleanor, was a spiritualist studying physics. This led to some very interesting discussions about energy on the molecular level and the spiritual level. She said we got along so well because our vibrational frequencies matched. I didn't understand it, but I had to agree that we always seemed to be on the same wavelength. The semester flew by. My classes were challenging and exciting. I liked being on my own, answering only to myself. The world was suddenly unfurling before me, expanding up and out like the mist that rose from the mountains. How nicely was that written, by the way? This actually reminded me of what it was like to be independent for the first time as a young adult. You feel like the world is your oyster and there's like nowhere to go but up. And I've never really used those cliches before, but like you get to be your own person. I felt like someone was calling to me from out there. At first, I believed it was potential. I was naive and caught up in the romance of young adulthood. I felt a tugging in my chest and called it promise, possibility, a future that was mine to take. It took me too long to recognize the truth. During midterms, the energy shifted, as Eleanor would say. Everyone was stressed with exams. Mercury was in retrograde. My legs wouldn't stay still when I tried to study. My instinct had always been to go for a run when I couldn't focus, but it was difficult out here. The gym was run down and kept odd hours, and most people preferred to run outside, enjoy the scenery. There were only two running paths, one on campus and one that went through the woods. Eleanor went jogging with me a few times, claiming she needed the fresh air, but I think my restlessness was getting to her, and she knew I wouldn't be able to go on my own for some reason. I kept getting lost every time I tried to go by myself. The paths were simple and I could navigate fine the rest of the time. It was only when I ran by myself that I lost my way. Running? Not for me, but I would absolutely not be alone if I kept getting lost. I would have my phone with me and I would have screenshotted the directions or even map quested it. If I was really stressed and I absolutely needed to go do something, I would definitely have at the very least map quested something and printed it out and folded it and put it under my bra, under my boob. Yes. This is where it starts to get hazy. I don't know if I finished my midterms or was still in the thick of them, but I was stressed as hell. I missed home. I missed running. I pulled several all-nighters studying, and the energy drink cans were piling up in my room. One night, my body just took over. I remember pacing, first inside the dorm, then back and forth in front of the building. I tried not to stray too far. Instead, I wore a ruttan to the soil. Pale yellow light filtered through the clouds. It was either dawn or dusk. It didn't matter which. I blinked and I was in the woods. My legs carried me down the path. My heart leapt, propelled by a cocktail of anxiety, elation, and caffeine. I felt like I was soaring. But a sense of self-preservation kept me strictly on the path, and I prayed I would be able to find my way back home. I turned a corner. What I saw there almost halted me. Blocking the path stood a man dressed in all black, pants and a long-sleeved shirt, a pointed cap, and a cloak billowing despite the still air. A gold snake necklace with red gems for eyes coiled around his neck. I would leave immediately. What would you do if you saw someone dressed like that in a secluded path? What would you do? He stood in front of a thick, ancient-looking tree, singular in its creepiness. Its bare branches resembled gnarled fingers disappearing into the sky. The man stood upright, preaching to an invisible audience. I couldn't decipher the words through my mental haze, but I heard his voice, rich and unwavering. 2 short figures flanked him. They were shrouded in black robes with pointed hoods. They could have been children or creatures. Both seemed equally likely. If a spooky man was flanked by children or spooky creatures, and they were all wearing black robes, and you couldn't really see their faces or make anything out about them, I think I just crumple onto the floor and just scream. All this I saw in a split second. My legs carried me forward, moving of their own volition before I had a chance to think. I crossed in front of him. As our bodies aligned with each other in the ancient tree, something, a force, an energy, maybe my own subconscious, made me turn my head. I looked into his face. His eyes immediately locked into mine, and time fell away. He stopped speaking and stared at me, into me, like he could read my soul and was doing so hungrily. His light-absorbing cloak and hat exaggerated the glow of his golden irises. I felt that gaze on a molecular level. It pierced me, wholly, painfully. My cells were boiling, atoms ripping apart in an instant, no, an eternity. And beneath the pain was something else, a feeling that this was right, correct, destined to happen. I opened my mouth to scream, let out the beginning of a yelp, and just like that, it was over. I kept running, deliberately now, putting as much distance as I could between us. His voice resumed, faint and fading as I got away. The pain was over. It disappeared as quickly as it caught on, but I still felt changed somehow, like all my cells had been replaced by similar but slightly misshapen ones. I didn't know what he did to me. I still don't. I just kept running, deeper into the woods, past where the path ended. My legs took me somewhere and I let them because running was all I knew anymore. And then, minutes or hours later, I emerged. Whatever was guiding me had brought me right back to the entrance path behind my dorm. I went inside, took a shower, slept. That was last week, or last month. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out how to abide by time when I can't feel it moving. When I saw Eleanor the next morning, her face looked different, like her features were photoshopped to be different sizes but still fit on her face. Everything was like that, has been like that since, and I can't turn it off. Like I'm viewing the world through interdimensional glasses, different enough to throw me off, but not so much that I can pinpoint it. Sometimes I see things as they were, or as they're going to be, and I feel different. I don't get lost, don't get hurt, don't feel hunger, exhaustion, anything. Like I don't have a physical form. Imagine suddenly that you're this ethereal being. I mean, that's what I'm taking from it. You cross paths with someone in this secluded running path, right? Like you cross paths and then suddenly everything feels different and you can't pinpoint why. Like you couldn't enjoy normal things. You just have no need for anything anymore. And imagine if I never had hot Cheetos again. I would be very upset. Anyway, back to the story. The only thing keeping me going is the need to figure out what happened. I've gone back to the woods countless times, waited by the tree for hours or days. He hasn't returned, and I haven't found anything else. So I turned to my field of study. What was the probability of all my decisions that day combining to bring me into the woods? What's the likelihood that I should come across someone else there? That the someone else I encountered would be someone magical, unexplainable, that he would exist at all? Or is it just more probable that I imagined it all? Again and again I run the numbers. Every time they come up short of an explanation. I'm short on answers. But something has to explain what happened to me, why I feel this way and how I can get back. I thought writing it out might help me get things in order, but it's only ensnared me further. But I have to keep going. I refuse to believe it was a freak accident, a bizarre coincidence. It can't be. There's no such thing. So I keep searching. Eleanor and I bicker now, no longer so in tune with each other. The woods call to me louder each day. They tug on me harder and harder. And at night, when I try to sleep, I close my eyes and there is no darkness. Only his eyes, golden and glowing. Yay! Thank you, Red. What did you all think of this story? Red, as we all call Allison, submitted this story and I was just so excited because I love the way she writes. So I would very much recommend her in every which way possible. Every which way possible, not even an exaggeration. She also mods for me on Twitch and it's just very pleasant to be around. And the fact that she wanted to submit something original to the series meant a lot to me. And I'm really happy that we got to debut this story via this series. Again, thank you so much to Allison for coming up with the amazing story, to Landon for coming up with the amazing artwork as well as the intro. And if you all really like this story and want to hear the audio only version with no commentary, the commentary free version, as I should call it, which I haven't done up until this point. I make things too complicated for myself. Anyway, doesn't matter. If you would like the commentary free version of this behind the scenes, you want to see my art prompts that I gave Landon and what I got back, just check out my coffee. Come hang out with me on Twitch as well, Monday through Thursday. All the links are below. Everything is cute and it's fun. I will see you guys next week for episode 3, which will include paranormal experiences from people in the community, as well as illustrations by Shauna Smith. Can't wait for you to see them. It is going to be a different episode compared to these first two. It's going to be literally submitted experiences, not necessarily a fictional story. See you next week for that. Have a great one. Bye.